Hi and welcome to Giggles and Yarn, my crochet channel. This is Nelly from South Africa. Welkom by Giggles en Gare. Bienvenue à Tutti Shaka. For part 3 we are going to crochet the pointy toe and pom-pom of this elf's Christmas slipper. To start off, begin with a slip knot and chain 16. Then chain an extra 1 and for row 1 make 1 single crochet in each chain, and for this pointy toe part you only use a 5.5mm hook. Crochets, and it measures 4.5 inches or 11.5 centimeters. So now we're going to change color. Take your green yarn and wrap it around your hook. Pull it into your last loop and pull tight. This is going to serve as your chain 1. So now turn your work. So we're going to keep the 2 colors trailing, the 2 threads of yarn trailing all the way, and we're going to work 1 row of red, 1 row of green. In fact, I mean a set of red and a set of green, and that's normally 2 rows. So we had our chain in our first row of single crochets. Now we're going to make only back loop single crochets. So let's make 2 rows of back loop single crochets in green. So there you have your loop that you're going to work into. And normally you would go under both loops there, like that. But now, because you want to work in the back loop only, find your little loopies and go in the middle of them, and there's your back loop. So each time you just go in the middle of your 2 loops of your stitch, and that's your previous single crochet stitch. So we're going to the back loop only and work a single crochet, and again in the back loop only and work a single crochet, and we continue like this all the way to the end. Then make a chain and turn your work and come back all the way, and I'll meet you at the end of your 2nd row of green back here. So now I've come to the end of my 2 rows of green, and we reach the end here, and now we're going to bring up our red and chain 1. Now turn your work and make 2 rows of red back loop only single crochets, chain 1, turn your work and come back all the way. So let's make back loop only single crochets. Oopsie. And continue, make 2 rows. So now I've come to the end of my 6th row, so it's 2, 4 and 6. So it's actually chain and 1, and like you know. So now we're going to change color, make another row of 2 green rows there and back, and then make another 2 rows of red there and back, and remember to chain 1 each time before you turn your work. And I'll meet you at the end of 4 rows, 2 green and 2 red, and I'll meet you back here. So now we've completed the end of our 2 rows each of green and red, and we're going to repeat that one more time. So let's make 2 more green rows and 2 more red rows. Red rows, not red rows, red rows. And I'll see you at the end of the 4 rows again. So we're just going to trail our colors. So now we're going to pull up our green, pull it tight, and pull tight your red. So you just pull both tight and turn and leave the red behind and continue with the green. So we'll just go into this very first back loop and make back loop single crochets all the way, and come back here and then take your red and make 2 red, and see you back here. So now we've finished the last 2 rows of green, last 2 rows of red, and altogether we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 rows. Actually this is a chain, so it's a chain plus 13 rows, and we can end off. So make the I've already made a chain here, so at the end of this last row make a chain, cut your yarn and pull through. So now we're ready to fold our tassel pointy hat part of the toes. You can cut these yarns as well. You can cut your green, and these tails we can work away now. So if you want to start at the beginning here, then you can just thread your needle with the tail and just weave in and out here. Few stitches, and you can go back as well. Let me just do this one better. I don't like them to show, so just thread your needle and let's just work away this yarn a bit better, like in there kind of thing, and that's good enough, because this is going to be in the inside of your hat, and it's alright. Now this is a short one, so we'll just go in among some stitches here, like that, and thread the needle and pull. So if you want to, you can just return. Don't go back in the same stitch. There's a small little difference. And go back once. If you feel more secure, by all means, let's work it away more securely. And here we can cut that last piece off and continue doing this with all your tails. I've sewn away my tails, and I've put this down this side where we increased with these little loopies on the right. My last row is that side. The chain that we started with is this side, and all I do is I put my finger here, I turn this into a triangle as far, just so that it makes a little corner here, and then I bring the other side and I bring it all the way to this corner here. It almost looks like a Christmas tree now. Now this I'm going to work so on here. So take a pin and then just kind of here at the top pin this part together. For now we're going to only work with this part at the bottom. So don't prick yourself, and then take your slipper and fit this little Christmas tree hat thingy around this toe here. I'm not going to bring it down too low. You don't have to bring it down all the way for the toe to fit inside, just slightly so that you can sew this on. So I have it like this, and I have it like that. These two kind of fit on top of each other. And this is what it looks like at the back. So you've got this pointy thing here at the back. So I'm taking just one strand of red. If you want to, you can take green, but it's like all the way here, mainly there's red, so I'm going to work with red. And thread your needle, and then just, like we said, fit this slightly around. So I'm just going to start here at the front where these two parts fit on top of each other. And again, I'm just going to weave, because this crochet work is so rough that it's really neither here nor there. It's not fine finicky work. So there's my slip knot to prevent the yarn from going through. So now I've weaved one that way. I'm just going to come back and secure it here into this corner. Now just weave all the way. Don't let, I'm just going to put my hand inside the slipper here and put it all the way to the corner. So because I don't want to work the toe, to sew the toe together or sew the toe closed. So I'm just going to help myself to be sure that I'm not sewing that toe closed. So I'll just put my hand inside and then go just on the edge stitch there and weave all the way around, and I'll meet you back here. At the back you just keep following the shape of the pointy hat tassel kind of shoe point. Elf hat pointy shoe tassel, and then just keep going into every little space on the edge you can find and lightly going to the back. So I didn't work with my hand inside because I didn't have a proper grip, so keep going. So now I've reached the front where we started again, and I just came out at the same place, and now I'm going to undo this slip knot and just tie these two strands together. I'll just make a double knot. Take another piece of red yarn and thread your needle, and let's sew this last part of our project together. So we're going to sew this up, but we want this pretty round, so pull it over as much as you can to across each other, the two panels. So you have this long red thing at the front, as tight as possible. So I'll just come in here at the bottom and start sewing up. Make my slip knotty thingy to prevent the knot from going through. So we'll do the same weaving thingy again, where we just gently weave, but don't catch this part when you weave, because we're going to stuff this pointy toe. So now when you kind of get to halfway, let's stuff this pointy toe, and I'm just going to take some of my tail of cats, and I'm going to stuff with that, but you can stuff with normal fluff or anything. And stuff it lightly, don't stuff it a lot. And then let's continue. I'm just pulling it over again, and at the top we're going to leave a little space to stuff a little bit more. So here, just going to stuff a little bit more. To get that pointy effect. And let's then just finish sewing it up. And I'll just weaving, and out at the back, and I'll just work away my tail. So I've worked away my tail, and now I'm just going to take my yarn needle and push some of the stuffing into the corner there, into the top pointy part, because it wasn't possible to stop and stuff again, it's just too small. So you can just kind of manipulate your stuffing a little bit and get some into that pointy part, and voila, and there is our pointy toe. Isn't it pretty? So now all we need to do is make our pom-pom and sew away all our tails. So let's get to the pom-pom. So now I've worked away most of my tails, and I still have this little bottom one. So before I work it away, I'm just going to, this was the starting slip knot that I made to prevent the yarn from pulling in, and then I'm just going to pull it. So you can see as I'm pulling it, my pointy toe part is coming forward, and that's what we want. So pull this little slip knot part of your yarn as much as you want. I'm pulling it quite a bit because I don't want the shoe to fall flat on this part. So this is basically you're just pulling this in, and it's gonna keep standing like that. So now after you've sewn this tail away, let's make the pom-pom. So for our pom-pom, let's take our white yarn, and we'll just use our hand. So we can decide how big we want the pom-pom. For a big pom-pom, use this part of your hand, and for smaller ones, so we're just going to make a smaller one. So take your yarn with your thumb, hold it tight, and then just go around with your yarn. So I'm just going to make it pretty thick, but not big. So I've wounded it around 50 times, and now just cut it, and then cut a long piece of yarn, extra yarn, just put it down like that, and I'll take it off my fingers, put it in the middle of this piece of yarn, and just tie it tight, like double knot on this side, but make sure it's exactly in the middle, otherwise your pom-pom pieces are gonna differ. So tie a double knot this side, and you can go around and tie a double knot here. So don't cut off these pieces because you're going to use it to sew it onto the pointy toe part. Then just take your scissors, put it in there on the side, and cut. And cut on the other side. Just cut it. And as you go along, you'll probably find some pieces that are not cut, and just cut them. So now take your two tails here and shake. Just shake it. And because this is a kind of a Alvy, Grinchy, Christmassy thingy, we're not gonna make it smooth, but you can if you want to. But this is rough and tumble like this, you see. So I'm just not even cutting anything. And let's sew it onto our toe. So just take your yarn needle, take one of the sides, and we'll just sew it onto the pointy part here. So one of the tails I'll go through on this side of the pointy of the tip, and the other tail I'll go through on this side. Then just tie them together. And just make a double knot. And there we have it. Now work away these two tails. I'll just work them into the stuffing. And then that can just disappear into the stuffing. There we go. I'll just cut this piece and push it in. So that's our slipper. Real pretty. I hope you enjoyed making it with me. And I'm giving mine away as Christmas presents. If you want to, you can put non-slip little dots at the bottom. So I just got some from our local store, and I'll just put them here on the toe part. They've got glue. I'll just just pull it off, and there's your glue. And I think I'll put 3 like that. I don't want them to say that they slipped on my Christmas present. Mrs. Peacock in the kitchen with the Alvin Christmas slipper. Just like that. So if you want to, you can still brush these to make it real fluff. and I'll put a link in the description box below to how you can actually brush them. They use either a pet brush or a just a normal dedicated bristle brush, and it really comes out like fur hair. So it's up to you. You can even brush this for fur and this for fur. It's really a non-stop imagination project. You can, and I've made other slippers where I have Grinch face, so I'll post that video as well. Happy holidays!
Ho, 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 ho.